Okay, so we're working with time. We need to match the clocks to their spot on the number line. So if we look at the first clock, we have to look at the hour, which is the small hand, and that's in between the 7 and the 8, so that would be 7 o'clock. Okay, then we look at the minute hand, which is the long hand, and that is between the 3 and the 4. So if we skip count by 5s for each number on the clock, we can count 7:05, 10, 15, and then if you look at the little dots on the page, it looks to me like it's one past 15. So we're at 7:16. Okay, this is 7:16. So if I look at my number line, here's 7 o'clock. The next labeled time is 7:10. So between 10 and 20 would be 15 and then 16. So to me, I'm going to put a dot here at 7:16 and draw a line to this clock. Okay? Let's look at the digital clock. That's 7:03. So I know I can go to 7 o'clock and I need to count 3 more minutes. So I'm going to hop 1, 2, 3 little hash marks or tick marks down the line, put a dot there, and draw a line to the 7:03. Going to the next clock, we're looking at the hour hand. It's pointing at the 8, but it's not quite 8 o'clock because if we look at the long hand, it's pointing at the 11, and once it gets to the 12, then it will be 8 o'clock. So it's still the 7 o'clock hour. We need to think in our head and skip count by 5s around until we get to that 11. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So this is 7:55. So looking along my number line, I have 7 o'clock, 7:10, 7:20, 7:30, 7:40, 7:50. If I go to 7:60, I've gone too far. So I'm going to go 50. Right in between here is 7:55, and that's going to match up to this clock. Okay? And then the last one, because I did 7:28 for us, if we read this, the hour hand is in between the 7 and the 8, so that's 7 something. Let's skip count by 5s again around the clock. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and that looks to me to be about 2 minutes past. So this is 7:42. So if I scan along my number line, I get to 7:40, and I'm going to hop 2 more spots and make a dot and draw that line. Okay? All right. Now, our next problem, we have to draw the hands on the clocks. Jessie woke up this morning at 6:48 a.m. All right. Well, let's find where the minute hand belongs. If this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, I know I have to go 3 more, so this is 46, 47, 48. Okay, so my minute hand is the long hand. That's going to be almost touching the tick mark on the clock. Okay, remember, you want to think about the clock as just a number line that's curved in a circle. Okay, now I need my hour hand. Well, once the minute hand gets past halfway past the hour, so past the 6, that hour hand is getting closer and closer to that next hour. So since we're getting much closer to the 12, our hour hand is going to be pointing a little bit closer to the 7 than it is to the 6. And it's also got to be a lot shorter than the minute hand so we can tell the difference between the clock, between the hands. Let's do number 3. Mrs. Barnes starts teaching math at 8:23 a.m. Okay, so if we count our minutes, this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 21, 22, 23. So our minute hand is going to be right about here. Okay, it's not even at the 6 yet. So when I want to put my hour hand, it's going to be closer to the 8 than to the 9. Right? So I'm going to make it shorter. I'm going to try to make it less than halfway between the 8 and the 9. That would be 8:23. Right, moving to the back side to number 4. The clock shows what time Rebecca finishes her homework. What time does Rebecca finish her homework? Right, so we've got to fill in the end of that sentence. Rebecca finishes her homework at what? Well, let's find the hour hand. It's in between the 5 and the 6, so we know that's the 5 o'clock hour. And then if we look for the minute hand, the long hand, we're going to skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27. That's 5:27. Do you think that's AM or PM? She's doing her homework, so that's going to be in the afternoon, so that's going to be PM, or evening, I suppose it is at that point. Okay, last one. The clock below shows what time Mason's mom drops him off for practice. What time does Mason's mom drop him off? All right, well, let's look at our hour hand. It's pointing at the 4, so I have to really decide, is it the 4 o'clock hour or the 3 o'clock hour? So I look at my minute hand. It's almost at the 12. So that tells me it's not quite 4 o'clock. It's still the 3 o'clock hour. So I'm going to put a 3. And then my minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. It looks like it's 56. Again, we want to make sure we put AM or PM. And since it's practice, it's going to be PM because he wouldn't be practicing in the middle of the night. That's what 3:56 p.m. is. Like, it's really early morning, actually. Mason's coach arrived 11 minutes before Mason. What time did his coach arrive? Well, we can subtract 11 minutes off of 3:56, so it's still the 3 o'clock hour, but 5 minus 1 would be 4, 6 minus 1 would be 5. So it's sort of like saying, what's 56 minus 11? And then you get 50 minus 10 is 40, 6 minus 1 is 5. So it's 45 over here. Okay? So if you're finished, you may get started on your homework. If you have questions, please work on a computer activity until Mrs. Giltz is done with her group, and then she can help you with your homework. Thanks, guys. Bye.